Coming up on Citrus TV News live at 6, Syracuse University observes Veterans Day in Hendricks Chapel.
And voting open today for Student Association President. We'll have the details on how to vote as well as a full recap of last night's debate.
And Israel responds to Palestinian attacks today. Find out what Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had to say about the violence in the Middle East.
And Syracuse wins the battle on the Midway. Dan Cohen shows us the highlights from San Diego. Good evening and welcome to Citrus TV News live at 6. I'm Ted Goldberg.
And I'm Hannah McDonald. Syracuse University honors veterans and those killed during 9/11 today. That's our top story.
SU's ceremony honored American service members killed on September 11th. ROTC members read the names of each person on the steps of Hendricks Chapel, and it took nearly 6 hours. Allie Bauman went there and tells us how Syracuse observed Veterans Day.
Syracuse University celebrated Veterans Day today with a recognition ceremony in Hendricks Chapel. Students honored local veterans and thanked them for their service.
I'm glad that our nation still remembers these people and they're willing to recognize them with ceremonies like this. And I potentially myself could be a veteran of a foreign war, so it means a lot to see that the nation still cares.
The ceremony featured a performance from Grammy nominee Michael Peterson. Student veterans also played an active role.
The Student Veterans Club provides support, resources, information, and advocacy, assisting veterans transitioning from military life to college life.
After the ceremony, veterans and military students mingled at a luncheon provided by the school.
And the hope of the brave.
And the chapel hall was mainly full of military students and local veterans.
Allie, you were there at Hendricks Chapel when they were reading the names, when they were going through all these things to remember America's veterans. Well, for you, what was the most moving part of this ceremony?
The most moving part of the ceremony for me was when we had the moment of silence for the 30 Syracuse alumni who died in the 9/11 attacks. And it was just having that moment, it was so solemn and just so kind of holy almost. That's amazing. 30 alumni. I guess you can kind of just set it. What was the overall mood? The overall mood that I felt, it was really humble. All the veterans who spoke kind of just talked about how honored they were to be able to serve our country, and the military students who were there, the Syracuse students, were just humbled and almost in awe that they were watching people who were where they were going to be one day.
Allie, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Last night, the Student Association and Citrus TV partnered up for the SA debate. Candidates running for comptroller and president faced off to prove why they should get the student vote. In the comptroller debate, incumbent Stephen DeSalvo faced off against challenger Osar Padonsaji. Afterwards, Ali Curtis, Iggy Nava, Kyle Coleman, and PG Alampi debated for president. The candidates discussed issues ranging from alumni relations to campus security.
Citrus TV's Brian Chung moderated the debate last night, and he joins us now to talk about it. And Brian, some people might only pay attention to the presidential debates, but those who pay attention to the comptroller debate last night were treated to some fireworks. What was that all about?
You know, it was really interesting. There were two candidates, incumbent Stephen DeSalvo and challenger Pat Osagie. And of course, there was a lot of tension about the tier system. And the tier system, of course, is the SA's way of judging how certain organizations get paid money to fund certain events and whatnot, and they categorize them into 4 different categories. And Pat Osagie seemed very, very sad about that current system because he felt that it disqualified a lot of organizations on technicalities. But Stephen DeSalvo claimed that it had been in place, and he put it in place and defended that very staunchly and said that it was put in place for a reason, and it gives a long sense of real security to the way that the system works and how they distribute their money. So.
And talking about the presidential debate, now there are 4 candidates vying for the position.
What was the tone of the debate between them?
You know, the tone of the debate I felt in general was a little more subdued compared to the comptroller debate. I mean, in the comptroller debate, they were personally attacking each other about experience within SA, but I felt for the most part that the debaters for the presidential debate really were kind of agreeing with each other for most topics. A lot of them said that they agreed that certain security measures need to be taking place on campus in lieu of the recent events, and they also talked a lot about the tier system as well. That was a hot topic for them. But they kind of mentioned that changes needed to be made and that the students need to be connected to SA more, but I felt there wasn't really any concrete outlines put in place, and maybe that could be a sense of insecurity for some voters, but for the most part, they tried to maybe clarify their platforms, and they did communicate their ideas and whatnot. But as far as actual plans and measures that they've taken place to get initiatives done, I didn't really see any of that.
The presidential debate might not be as exciting as the comptroller's debate, but as for that presidential race, is it a one-horse race, or is it maybe going to come down to possibly a plurality rather than a majority?
You know, that depends on who you ask. And as the moderator, I personally got the feel that everyone was really into it. And there wasn't really a clear winner that I could see, speaking diplomatically. But of course, some student groups might say that one candidate is leading over the other because they're all appealing to different sides of campus. And where they face on common ground, where they face on common ground issues like security and like the tier system, that's where the battleground is going to be for this election. And we'll see that as we go into Thursday and hear the results on Friday morning.
Well, thank you so much, Brian.
Thank you.
And voting opened online just a few hours after last night's debate. Voting for all Student Association races opened today and will continue through this Thursday at midnight. Every student can log into MySlice and select Vote Now under the Student Services tab. In addition to president, students vote for comptroller, assembly members, and 4 referendums.
Coming up on Citrus TV News Live at 6, Janine Meck tells us about 2 women who are fighting to save a local church.
And Leanne DeRosa joins us to take a look at today's weather. Citrus TV News Live at 6. We'll be right back.
How you doing? My name's Steve. My family's lived in this neighborhood for years. Recently, things got so tight, we had to go to our local food bank for help. I lost a lot of sleep worrying about what the neighbors might think. That is until I saw them there, too. How'd I do, Steve?
A little stiff. You could have done a little better.
What? Come on. You know, I have an Academy Award.
Yeah, but not for playing me.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
Now, some action from the courts. Billie Jean King renewing her rivalry with Arthritis. First set, furious volley, and right to the net for a winner. Beautiful forehand there. Arthritis, stunned. And here, match point. Billie Jean with the ace, taking it in straight sets. Afterwards, a jubilant Billie Jean King.
Tennis is a weapon for me with arthritis. There's nothing like it for me to hit a ball, run to the ball, anytime, any court. I'm ready. Let's go.
What's your weapon against arthritis? Find out at fightarthritispain.org.
Welcome back. 3 races are still up in the air in Onondaga County after last week's election. The Democratic Committee is still waiting for absentee and provisional ballots, where Democratic Party candidates are trailing in the latest returns. These include races for judicial and town council positions. There are more than 11,000 absentee ballots and affidavit ballots from largely Democratic districts still uncounted. And now we go to Citrus TV's Janine Mack with a story on how a group of women are fighting to save a church community.
The community is speaking out after an emotionally charged meeting at the Landmark and Preservation Board on Monday. Holy Trinity Church merged with St. John the Baptist in August of 2004. The Holy Trinity Church building needs thousands in repairs. And many can't believe it's been closed for the past 2 years. But what the Roman Catholic Diocese plans to do next caused even more uproar in the community.
20 plus people standing up to speak in opposition, as well as the couple folks who were speaking for St. John the Baptist.
The debate got heated over what to do with the Holy Trinity Church building and its 22 stained glass windows. St. John the Baptist plans to sell it to a church of the same name in Zachary, Louisiana.
I was angered by it. I was angered because it wasn't a good rationale to me.
Church home was Holy Trinity. They don't seem to care. All they're worried about now is how much money can they get.
John Winter, former pastor of Holy Trinity Church, said this via email. The removal of the windows for relocation in another Catholic church will continue the mission of the church. A final vote is expected at the next meeting on November 15th. At Holy Trinity Church in Syracuse, I'm Janine Mack for Citrus TV.
Those freezing temperatures and the rain and the wind last week. Well, today Mother Nature treated central New York to temperatures near 70 degrees. Leanne DeRosa joins us now to take a look at today's weather.
Thanks, Ted. Well, last week I had to use the word snow in my forecast, and today I'm talking about temperatures that went up to 70. This week has really kept me on my toes with this weather. If you look at today's forecast, you could see that we had temperatures in the upper 60s with clouds and wind gusting all the way up to mid 20 miles per hour. Looking over to tonight's forecast, you can see that temperatures are going to drop a lot. We're going to have temperatures in the upper 30s, and we do have about a 90% chance of rain, and that wind will continue to gust. So make sure you bundle up. You're going to need that extra, coat and rain slicker. Moving on to tomorrow morning, you can see that temperatures are going to go up, but not as much as we have seen this past weekend. It's only going to go up to the mid 40s, but we will see sun, some clouds, not as nice as today, obviously. That should change, though, throughout the week. Moving on to the map, you can see that these high wind gusts are common all the way across the country. They're coming in from the west, so we will see high winds throughout the rest of the week, most likely, gusting anywhere up to mid-20s, upper 20s. So keep that in mind when you're trying to bundle up, because that wind will make it feel a lot colder. Moving on to our 5-day forecast, you can see that we will have sun, some clouds, and temperatures fluctuating throughout the 40s throughout the whole week. We shouldn't see any, large periods of rain. We will see rain tonight, though, so keep that in mind.
Well, Leanne, a lot of crazy temperatures. Last week, it was freezing. This week, it's been pretty warm. When should I start expecting a blizzard of snowfall on my front lawn?
Well, hopefully not too soon, because it is only mid-November, and last week with the snow was a little bit unusual. Maybe not for Syracuse, but unusual in general. Hopefully we'll start to see some snow throughout December, but I don't think anytime too soon. We should see temperatures in the 40s, at least for the rest of this week going into next week.
And last year's winter obviously was not anything too devastating. They're predicting that it's going to be a more intense winter with a lot more snowfall. How long do you think it's going to take for snow to start accumulating and there to be lake effect snow?
Well, the temperature has to drop a lot more. So, today's temperatures up to our 60s, yesterday in the 70s, stuff like that will not cause the snow to start accumulating. So it needs to drop and stay low for a large amount of time before that snow really accumulates.
So hopefully I won't be having to worry about snow in the upcoming future. Do you think I should if I have to buy new snow boots, should I maybe do it this week, or should I maybe wait a couple of months?
No, I wouldn't wait a couple of months, but I don't think you're going to need them this week.
Thank you, Leanne.
You're welcome.
We're going to take a quick break here on Citrus TV News at 6, but when we come back, we'll tell you which presidential candidate won Florida, the last undecided state.
And find out how the Northeast is dealing with Hurricane Sandy's aftermath 2 weeks later. Citrus TV News will be right back.
How you doing? My name's Steve. My family's lived in this neighborhood for years. Recently, things got so tight, we had to go to our local food bank for help. I lost a lot of sleep worrying about what the neighbors might think. That is until I saw them there, too. How'd I do, Steve?
A little stiff. You could have done a little better.
What? Come on. You know, I have an Academy Award.
Yeah, but not for playing me.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
$7,000 high school students drop out every school day. That's a line of desks more than 4 miles long. We can keep students in school. Visit boostup.org and take the first step.
So, I got this new family, and I don't know what it is about this one, but she can't seem to put down that toy all day long. Tap, 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 tap. Oh, and she even talks to it. She talks to that more than she talks to him. What's up, bro? Nice shirt. Who's she talking to? Her mom? She talks to her mom a lot.
The results are in for the last undecided state in the presidential election. It was announced Saturday night that President Obama won Florida with a margin of victory just shy of 74,000 votes. This brings Obama's electoral vote total to 332, well above the 270 required to win the presidency, and 126 more than challenger Mitt Romney. Obama's victory in Florida completes a clean sweep of all 8 swing states that had been considered toss-ups. The United States is set to pass Saudi Arabia as the world's largest oil producer before 2020. The U.S. is also on pace to become energy independent in 20 years. A new forecast by the International Energy Agency said these numbers are the result of boom in U.S. oil and natural gas production. With this trend, the U.S. will become a net exporter of oil by 2030. It's been 2 weeks since Hurricane Sandy's powerful punch to the northeast, but many in the New York City metropolitan area are still dealing with flooding and power loss. About 160,000 households across 10 states are still without power. A large portion of these customers are from Long Island, and the government has set up FEMA stations to administer federal aid in addition to federal disaster unemployment assistance. The death toll from hurricane stands at 113. Former CIA Director David Piotr's extramarital affair was no secret, according to a spokesperson for House Majority Leader Eric Cantor. Doug Hay says his boss was tipped off by an FBI employee as far back as October about the information. Hay said he discussed national security concern with Cantor as a result of the affair. Mind you, Piotr stepped down as head of the CIA last week.
Two BBC executives are stepping down after the network wrongly accused an English politician of child sexual abuse. News director Helen Bowden and deputy news director Steve Mitchell have stopped working for the public broadcasting service, but could come back later this year. The program Newsnight ran an investigation against Alastair McAlpine, and journalists accused him of abusing a child throughout the 70s and 80s. But the accuser saw his picture during the program and said that McAlpine wasn't the accuser. Earlier today, Israeli airstrikes killed 6 Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. The strikes also destroyed a building that stored Palestinian weapons and injured 34 people. Israel's attack comes a day after its Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that Israel is ready to, quote, intensify its reaction, after Palestinians launched 110 rockets against Israel over the weekend. An American journalist has gone missing in Syria, and the Syrian government claims it doesn't know where he is. Government officials say they did not abduct Austin Tice, who last spoke to his family in August. Tice was reporting on the uprising in Syria. In October, someone uploaded a video to YouTube, which appeared to show Tice surrounded by Syrians with weapons. Tice's parents say they are willing to travel across the world to demand their son's return.
I'm Dan Cohen. Coming up in sports, it was a clean sweep of homecoming weekend for all SU teams on the Hill. One team is Final Four bound and another just locked down a playoff spot. Stick around for those stories and more on Citrus TV News, live at 6.
You realize that 49 million Americans struggle with hunger? That's 1 out of every 6 Americans. These people are around us every day. They're our friends, they're our coworkers, their kids go to school with our kids. Sometimes we're not even aware that they're struggling. This problem is closer than you think. So is the solution.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
Hey, my name's Katie and I'm in the 9th grade. I'm an A average student and I'm an athlete working towards a scholarship. And everybody tells me how much potential I have. But I just wish someone would tell me where my next meal is coming from. Katie, how'd I do?
Do you have to be so serious?
Well, I mean, I did like a crazy dance in a movie if you want me to like, do a little, no.
Play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
So, I just moved in with this family, and it's embarrassing. The little one, he likes to go outside and crawl around in the giant litter box. I don't know what he's doing. I mean, I was born and I knew how to use the litter box. Look at that. That's disgusting. Oh, poop already. You're making me nervous. Oh, okay, I can't look at this anymore. I really hope he grows out of this, for his sake.
Know what?
What?
Since I got adopted, I've learned a lot about these humans.
I know. I mean, check out these two. It's Flirt City over here.
Yeah, I noticed that. It looks like my human is definitely into your human.
Oh, look! I think she's getting his number.
Nice.
Your human's got some sweet moves.
Takes after his dog. Oh, look, they're doing that thing where they put their arms around each other.
She kicked up a leg. It's like in the movies.
That's awesome. Looks like we're going to be hanging out a little bit more.
Welcome back. Breaking news to Citrus TV within the last half hour. The SU men's soccer team is going to the NCAA tournament. It's the club's second ever appearance in the Big Dance and the first postseason berth since 1984. The Orange will stay in Central New York to face the Cornell Big Red on Thursday in the first round. Syracuse men's hoops ended last season in Boston, falling to Ohio State in the Elite Eight. On Veterans Day Sunday, SU kicked off this year in San Diego on the flight deck of the USS Midway. Jim Boeheim got his 37th season on the Hill off on the right foot with a 62-49 victory over 20th-ranked San Diego State. The Orange got big games from junior C.J. Fair and sophomore Michael Carter-Williams. Both paced SU with 17 points each. Brandon Trish also chipped in with 15 of his own. The 2-3 zone gave the Aztecs its fits outdoors as the bright sun and wind contributed to a dismal offensive performance. The hosts managed to shoot 1 for 18 from three-point range, just 27% from the field overall. And the Cuse returns, and the season is a game old, but it's never too early to look ahead to future editions of March Madness. The NCAA announced today sites for the 2014 and 15 tournaments. Syracuse is in on the fun. The Dome will be the East Regional in 3 years, while MSG in New York will host the Regional in 2 for the first time since 1961. We've got more basketball for you here on Citrus TV, but let's hand it off to the ladies. Coach Quentin Hillsman and the Orange held their season opener Sunday in the Dome against Fairleigh Dickinson. Boasting the country's 6th best recruiting class, Syracuse retooled roster made a statement, winning 94-47. SU put 3 of its 5 freshmen in the starting lineup with instant results. Brittany Sykes and Brianna Butler scored 11 and 10 in the big victory. Kayla Alexander also had 20, 10 boards, and 8 blocks. Beating the number 9 team in the BCS is no easy task. Syracuse football flipped that script, rolling to a 45-26 win over Louisville. It was the highest scoring effort for the Orange this year, and it earned some conference recognition. Wideout Alec Lemon won Big East Offensive Player of the Week honors after 9 catches, 176 yards, and 2 TDs. Ryan Nassib was named to the Big East Weekly Honor Roll after throwing for 246 yards and 3 TDs of his own. Syracuse Athletics banner weekend continued in Happy Valley for SU field hockey. The Orange toppled Penn State to advance to the program's second ever Final Four, both under 6-year head coach Ange Bradley. Jordan Page tallied 2 goals for SU, and Leanne Stiver had another strong performance with 13 saves. It's the first national semifinal for Syracuse since 2008. Top-ranked North Carolina takes on the Cuse this week in Norfolk, Virginia. Now, as if 2 Orange victories weren't enough in the Carrier Dome this weekend, the SU women's volleyball team got the job done in its final match of the season. Syracuse beat Seton Hall in 5 sets on Senior Day for its 4th Big East win of the year. Freshman Sylvie Uwatara led the way for the Orange with 22 kills. Nicolette Sarator notched a double-double with 13 kills in 22 days. SU ended the year on a high note, winning 3 of its last 5 matches. It was anything but a memorable Sunday for New York football fans. The Bills and Jets both lost, and it was the New York Giants who continued their November swoon. The Bengals tore up the champs 31-13 for New York's 2nd straight loss this month. Cincinnati quarterback Andy Dalton threw 4 touchdowns to 4 different receivers, and Eli Manning managed just 215 yards and 2 picks for the G-Men. And to wrap us up on this Monday, the drama continues surrounding the Los Angeles Lakers in the NBA. The Purple and Gold fired Mike Brown after a 1-4 start, and the Lake Show has found his replacement, and it's not Phil Jackson. Former Suns and Knicks coach Mike D'Antoni signed a 3-year, $12 million deal late last night to take over the Lakers. His up-tempo offense was favored by management over Jackson's triangle approach.
Thank you, Dan. Let's take one last break here on Citrus TV News live at 6.
Leandra Rosa gives us a quick look at tomorrow's weather when we come back. See you in a few.
Now, some action from the courts. Billie Jean King renewing her rivalry with Arthritis. First set, furious volley, and right to the net for a winner. Beautiful forehand there. Arthritis, stunned. And here, match point. Billie Jean with the ace, taking it in straight sets. Afterwards, a jubilant Billie Jean King.
Tennis is a weapon for me with arthritis. There's nothing like it for me to hit a ball, run to the ball, anytime, any court. I'm ready. Let's go.
What's your weapon against arthritis? Find out at fightarthritispain.org.
And Leanne DeRosa now joins us. Leanne, what are we going to see tomorrow morning?
Well, tonight we're going to see some showers, so that might be clearing up when we first wake up in the morning. Otherwise, it's going to be partly cloudy throughout the day, temperatures getting up into the mid-40s.
Great. Thank you, Leanne.
And Hannah, our last story is one that you really have to hear to believe. But for one priest in Australia, that's going to be tough.
Yeah, and I don't want you to be a doubting Thomas for those of you at home. This is a story about 2 priests in Australia who got into a pretty peculiar altercation.
Father Thomas Byrne and Father Thomas Smith got into a fight over a parking space, and Father Thomas Byrne channeled his inner Mike Tyson and bit off Father Thomas Smith's ear.
Clearly, there was not enough holy bread or wine for these 2 priests. This altercation is something that they're never going to forget, and
to spice up the story, they were both 80 years old.
Oh boy. Well, with that, I guess, you can only be so holy. That's all we have for the news tonight. Thanks for watching. I'm Hannah McDonald.
And I'm Ted Goldberg. Make sure to check us out online at citrustv.net. Thank you for watching and have a great day.